my first hole-in-one was here on number 3 at True Blue. It was a front right pin location, and we were playing the gold tee at the time was, I think, about 150 yards. And I mean, the wind was blowing about 40 miles an hour. And I punched it up there, and you could not see the bottom of the cup. I knew it spun. I knew it probably got somewhat close. The guy I was playing with was a fellow assistant at Caledonia at the time. He's like, "Oh, I'm sure that's in, man. I'm sure that's in." I was like, "You're high. Like whatever." We drive up there, see one ball on the green, go up. Sure enough, it was in the cup.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Whole Story Podcast. We appreciate you guys joining us today. This is Robby and Jonathan. We are joined by a very special guest at a very special place, Bart Romano. Welcome. We are sitting on the porch overlooking the 18th green at True Blue Golf Club here in Pawleys Island, South Carolina. True Blue is a sister course of Caledonia Golf and Fish Club. Jonathan and I got to play both of them, Caledonia yesterday, True Blue today. And we appreciate, Bart, you having us out.
Thank you for having us. Thank you guys for being here.
Yeah, quick recap of the weekend. Solheim Cup just ended, right? Ended in the 14-14 draw, and because Europeans had the cup last time, they get to retain the cup. So it was, hard-fought match. But we're here to talk more about this place. We got the Ryder Cup coming up, but I know you guys are probably excited. Y'all probably have events and stuff going on for the Ryder Cup. But
it's a busy couple weeks between the Solheim Cup and the Ryder Cup around here. All golf courses, I'm sure.
I would imagine.
Yeah, so, we always try to figure out just everyone's golf story. So how in the world do you end up, you said you were from Delaware.
Yeah.
So how do you start in the Northeast and end up in Myrtle Beach? Because you don't look retired.
No, I am most definitely not retired. I started at Hershey's Mill Country Club up in Westchester, Pennsylvania.
Okay.
My first year right out of Shepherd College. And it took about one winter in the Northeast to realize I didn't want to sit in the office, stare at the same 4 dudes for 3 months. And I didn't want to know parts of doing that again. So started looking to move south, and in August of 1999, I moved down to Myrtle Beach, and I started working at River's Edge Golf Course up in Charlotte. We opened the Arnold Palmer signature design up there, so it was I got to meet Arnold Palmer. It's been quite a journey, and I've been here at True Blue for 17 years, and in my position as director of golf for about 2.5 now.
Yeah, man, you were at River's Edge up in Charlotte, North Carolina. That was one of our favorites. Jonathan and I used to be a part of a big group of guys that would come. We've played here multiple times, stayed at the True Blue Villas, but prior to coming south, we would always go up in the Calabash area and play River's Edge and all those courses there. I mean, you talk about a shot maker's course. What, it was number 9 where you could try to
Peninsula Green.
Yeah. That was a tough one.
Yeah, you're always talking about that, good or bad, when you leave, but that's the one you're talking about.
And I think the last time we played it, it was late January, because we always tried to get reasonable deals and stuff, and it was probably in the high 30s.
I'm sure
it was
magical.
Freezing cold.
And the wind, I'm sure, was not blowing.
No, we had the best time ever.
Yeah, we all started wearing lots of layers for the first time in the South. So
yeah.
So how did you get into golf? Was that something where you played in high school?
Well, I actually did not. Yeah, I did not grow up in golf.
Okay.
I actually played baseball. Played baseball in the college at now Shepherd University. Once I realized that wasn't happening anymore, it kind of, my roommates played golf, kind of got me into golf. So I started playing, tried out for the college team my 5th year, got to play, and the rest is history. Got a job right out of school, got an internship at Hershey's Mill up in Westchester, and 25 years later, here we are.
So of all the courses that you managed, played, that sort of thing, is there a hole that just sort of sticks out that is the one that you always go back to?
Well, this is not a great story, but the 5th hole at Augusta National.
Okay. Wait, you managed that one?
No.
Okay.
Played it.
Played it.
Did you really?
Yeah. I didn't do much managing of anything that day. On the 5th, the 5th hole is kind of when we go to the Masters every year, is where we sit up on the hill above 6 tee box and by the green on 5. So it's always had a special place, and we got the opportunity to play there. I was super pumped to play it. It's like I had this idea of how I was going to play the hole. That idea did not come to fruition. I just blasted it left. I was basically on the 6th hole. Somehow I found my ball. It was a myriad of comedies after that, but so it still holds a special place, just for a little bit different reason now.
Yeah, but hey, did you play Augusta? Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Scoreboard on
Check.
that. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Doesn't matter what you shoot. And Jonathan and I talk about it all the time. It doesn't matter, what you shoot, but where you get to play and who you get to play with and be a part of this
100%.
awesome game. So,
Absolutely.
yeah. Well, tell us a little bit about True Blue Caledonia, right? Mike Strantz design.
Yep.
He's known for those kind of shot making courses, very creative, and his bunkering and the green situations and stuff. But tell us a little bit about True Blue in Caledonia.
Well, Caledonia was Mike's first solo design, and when you're playing it, you can kind of see his influences from Tom Fazio and the guys he worked with prior, because it's not, it's a parkland golf course. It has some of the what we know as Strantzicities now that are there present, but it's a little more subdued. When you come to True Blue, which opened in 1998, it looks like, when you step on the property, it looks like a Mike Strantz golf course. A lot like his work at Tobacco Road, Todd Hill Farm, Stonehouse, and Rural New Kent up in Virginia. They have a lot of similarities. The high bunkering, the big greens, big undulating greens, different tee boxes. So there's a lot of similarities in his properties. Caledonia, I think, is set apart. It's a little bit of a different feel, and just the property is just so amazing. I always tell people it's like playing golf in a garden.
Right.
Yeah.
So Jonathan and I were talking about this earlier. Like, it was probably when we were in the woods at one point today here at True Blue. But how does somebody take a plot of land? Because I think you mentioned it. Like, it's going to be trees and sandy areas and stuff like that. How does somebody take something like that and create a beautiful place like this?
He was truly an artist, and if you go through either clubhouse, you see actually some of his pencil sketchings, and it's amazing. I couldn't do that on a computer, let alone by hand. And his vision for the properties when it sets foot on them, and it's kind of it's basically a bunch of trees at some point, and to get the routing from that, to get the whole designs from that, and then basically to build an overall 18-hole facility, it's kind of an incredible work of art. It's like a physical work of art versus pencil and paper, but he could do both, and he could see it like that before a tree was taken down. And I think that's the most incredible part about these properties, is there wasn't a lot of dirt moved, a lot of land moved. He used the natural terrain, natural features of the land, and it's kind of seems like it's been there forever. Mm-hmm. But both golf courses are, Caledonia will be 30 years old next year. Mm-hmm. True Blue is 25 this year, so it's a special place, no doubt about it. And we hopefully don't take it for granted.
I found a lot of those special places right up against the lip of the tall bunkers.
It is really super
washouts fun. That you're just like, what am I supposed to do with this? How am I supposed to do something with it? So obviously there's signature holes, but is there a hole that you think sort of resonates between the two courses that if someone's coming down to visit, like they should make sure they're paying attention to it? It's the signature of what's going on.
I think the hole that kind of sums up the properties, the 18th hole at Caledonia. Mm-hmm. I'm sure you hear that a lot from places that, our 18th hole is our signature hole, but there's few with a backdrop like the one at Caledonia. Yeah. It's a fairly benign tee shot. Lots of trouble, but it's basically a layup off the tee, and then typically a short iron or a wedge into the green. But with the backdrop, the setting, the rice fields, the marsh, all right there. Usually a crowd of people on the deck cheering you or booing you for your efforts. It puts a little more pressure on it, and it makes it a little bit more memorable at the same time.
Yeah, in the times when we've come with big groups, that's if you're one of the last few groups out and your buddies up there and they got a beer, they're ready to cheer or boo or
they're betting on you. And it's a whole scene on that back porch for sure.
It's funny you mentioned that, because I was talking to some guys this morning as we were getting in the carts, and they just played it yesterday. Same thing. They're like, man, you just get hammered whenever you're coming in. You're like, I'm going to hit this shot. It's deceiving because it's long, but it's not deep. And if you go any length over, you're either next to the steps, which may or may not have 15 people on them as well, or in some sand where you can't figure out how to get out.
No, it's a daunting shot, depending on the pin placement of that day. It's an awkward second shot into the green with obviously trouble short, right, long. And then you got people heckling you. So yeah, it doesn't. It causes high stress situation.
In case you're wondering, viewer, whenever you come and play the hole, when you dump it into the water, it's okay. There's a really nice drop zone just off of the green, so you can almost putt from there and you're okay.
Well, we're in South Carolina, and we've got pretty good weather all year round. So how does that affect your job when you've got to make sure, and it's a big tourist destination, when you got to make sure the course is looking great? You got rainy seasons, you got a little cold, and then you've got people that want to play these beautiful courses.
Oh, absolutely. And we have a 12-month golf season. Obviously, through the winter, as you guys, I'm sure, have experienced, some are better than others.
Yeah.
But for the most part, we're basically closed on Christmas Day. Otherwise, that is it. We're open the rest of the year. And we service customers and guests year round. If you're looking for a great place, these are two great properties. We're very fortunate, but it's always a balancing act as far as conditioning. And we'll in the next 3 or 4 weeks we'll drop ryegrass at both facilities, so it gives it that nice green appearance throughout the winter and going into spring of next year. And then you get to the summertime, the end of May, the ryegrass goes away, the Bermuda kind of takes over. So it's always a balancing act for our maintenance staff, and our maintenance teams do a great job, year round, because the expectation of True Blue or Caledonia does not change. It doesn't matter if it's January, July, or October. But that's our business, is to make that as seamless as possible year round.
Sure.
And you got your wish, right? You didn't have 4 months of just staring at 4
Yeah, exactly. I'm always moving. Always have something going on at True Blue and Caledonia.
And the golf business too, and especially in an area like Pawleys Island, which is 20, 30 minutes from the Myrtle Beach area, you are competing against probably 100 other courses.
Yep.
So somebody's deciding, where am I going to spend my money to play an 18-hole course, and you want to be one of the best. So
no, absolutely. You always try to deliver on those expectations. We've always said under promise, over deliver, and that's kind of our motto. And we know what expectations are when they come to True Blue or come to play Caledonia. And that's where we're there to meet and exceed those expectations, because quite frankly, there are a lot of choices in town, and relatively close.
Yeah.
So it's, we're not the only act in town. There's 70 other golf courses within 50 miles of us.
Well, we won't get into your hitting in baseball. We talk about I played baseball college, so we can talk about that later. But we always like to find out from all of our guests what's been your best shot, whether that's a hole-in-one, whether that's just a memorable tee. What did that look like for you?
Well, I have a couple, but the first one that comes to mind is my first hole-in-one was here on number 3 at True Blue. It was a front right pin location, and we were playing the gold tee at the time was, I think, about 150 yards. And I mean, the wind was blowing about 40 miles an hour. And I punched it up there, and you could not see the bottom of the cup. I knew it spun. I knew it probably got somewhat close. The guy I was playing with was a fellow assistant at Caledonia at the time. He said, "Oh, I'm sure that's in, man. I'm sure that's in." I was like, "You're high. Like, whatever." We drive up there, see one ball on the green, go up. Sure enough, it was in the cup, and that was my first one. And I'd had a long time in the business before that happened, probably about 15 years. There was a lot of golf in that time, and it was a mental thing at some point. On every par 3 I would step up, I would think about it. And you never hit a good shot when that happens.
Yeah.
And trust me, I didn't. I usually hit terrible shots. And it was kind of a running joke, and I used to get mad, and people would come in and be like, "Oh, I made a hole-in-one from 110 yards with like a 5-wood." And I was just like furious. And finally did it. So it was nice to get that monkey off my back.
that's a great story. Do you know how far it was when you were playing?
It was about, I think it was 155 yards.
Okay. It was on the front today, number 3.
Yeah.
And after putting a very bad swing on one and then hitting a second shot, not from the drop zone, put it just over the lip of the of the bunker area, and it was right on the fringe. Second ball got at par, so I was pleased with that. But
yeah, that was always my fear, especially in holes like that, is that my first hole-in-one would actually be a hole-in-3.
Hole-in-3.
Yeah.
That would just infuriate me. But knock on wood.
Yeah. Well, we do this thing called a quick 9. So we'll ask you some random questions, and you might have already answered this one earlier. What is the favorite golf course that you've ever played?
Oh, that's pretty easy. Augusta National is definitely number 1.
Do you have a close second?
True Blue and Caledonia are right there.
Oh,
There you go. Good answer.
They're 2A and B.
That was the party line. That's nice. All right. Well, you might have. We talked about this earlier. Well, who's the most famous person that you've ever played? Or sorry, who's the most famous person that's ever played at this course?
Here,
Yeah.
Looking back through the history of True Blue, it's probably Tom Brady.
Nice.
We've had a lot. We've had several athletes
Yeah.
and coaches. Clark Kellogg was here last week. So we get a lot of that, and it's really cool to see. But I would say because we used to have an event that Charlie Weiss hosted,
Okay.
Hannah and Friends. So a lot of people would come. I mean, we've had the real Rudy was here, Joe Theismann, Lou Holtz, Tim Brown. When he was with the Patriots, Tom Brady played. So as much as I hate to admit it, as I am clearly, I'm an Eagles fan and not a Tom Brady fan. He is probably the most famous person that's played here.
That's great. What I know they're all your favorites. What is pick your favorite at each of the courses, True Blue and Caledonia?
Yeah, my favorite hole at Caledonia is probably number 8. It's a par 5. You tee off, hit over some cross bunkers, reachable par 5 with the pond kind of in front of the green with the old oaks hanging over the tree. This is a fun risk reward. I enjoyed the tee shot. It's an amazing hole. It's a fun hole. Just you can make a 3 or you can make a 9.
Yeah.
It's a fun hole to play.
Cool.
Yeah, a lot like that.
Besides Tom Brady, who would be in your dream foursome?
That actually is a tough one. Tom Brady's definitely not making the cut on that. I didn't grow up playing golf, but we'd go, Arnold Palmer, Tiger Woods, and my man El Torrio Renwick at True Blue, the head professional over here.
Very nice. Very nice. A little love for the local guy.
Absolutely.
Yep. Is there a rule in golf that you would change?
Playing out of divots.
Okay.
And it should be a popular one because it's absolutely ridiculous. You hit it in the fairway,
hit a perfect
and you're
shot.
in a divot, and you have to play it from that nonsense, sandy or otherwise. They should get to move the ball.
Most people are probably cleaning it.
Trust me, I'm rolling it out of there. But
Yeah.
You can't do it in the tournament. So,
what is your favorite club in your bag?
At this point, I don't have one. Yeah, I hate them equally. My putter is the most consistent, which is consistently not good.
All right.
So, yeah, I'm the king of 2 putts. I don't really 3 putt, but I don't make anything.
The king of 2 putts is a much better title than king of 3 putts.
Right.
All right, we asked this question. Jonathan played at a course in Cabo, had taco stands every few holes. He noticed they weren't here. But what's your favorite snack on the golf course?
We actually, at our halfway house, the Shank Shack here at True Blue, we serve pizza and we actually bring it down from South Jersey.
Okay.
And that's kind of Bruni's is a family pizzeria back up in South Jersey. And they kind of came up with something where we can have a frozen pizza and it still has that South Jersey taste.
Yeah.
And literally, when I eat it, it reminds me of being a kid walking on the boardwalk. It's really good. It's something different, kind of like tachos. We don't have tacos here, but we have some pizza.
That's
and we have really great hot dogs. But
and then over at Caledonia, you got the chowder.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's kind of a one of a kind experience for everybody, and it's actually really, really good. And couldn't give you the recipe. If I did, I'd have to kill you.
Yep.
That kind of situation.
They offered it yesterday, and I'm like, it's 90 degrees outside. I'm not going to have some chowder right now.
Yeah, we basically do it in the fall and the spring because nobody wants hot chowder when it's 100 outside. But it really is awesome. It's cool. The Chowder Shack is actually an original building from the property, so it's been there as long as the owners have owned it since the early 70s. So it's kind of a cool use of the property and something everybody remembers.
Yeah. Well, we're always fans of golf logos. So do you have a favorite golf logo that sits out there for you?
Yeah, oddly enough, is obviously I love True Blue and Caledonia's logo.
Mm-hmm.
So show it off there.
Yeah.
But my favorite is Philly Cricket Club.
Okay.
It's totally different. You have to check that out and flash it up there. But it's
absolutely.
It's a good one. A buddy of mine works up there as well as a teaching professional, but it's pretty cool.
All right. Well, final question of the quick 9. If you could only play one hole again for the rest of your life, what hole would that be?
That's a good one. Probably the 4th hole here at True Blue. It's kind of a horseshoe par 5, just so I could basically make a bunch of 2s, 3s, and 10s.
Yes.
It would never be the same.
A good friend of ours says that's his nemesis hole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have messed that hole up in about 50 different possible ways. And each time it happens, you kind of laugh. I'm just like, Never thought I'd do this.
Yeah.
You know, I played it from the first hole, and I've played it from the water, from the condos. You know, I've been everywhere, but you know, had some success on that hole as well.
At least you got some creativity and things like that for the rest of your life.
Oh, yeah.
Just, you know, straight par three.
Yeah, just get a little par three where you're going to make a bunch of threes, and yeah, that one the scores will run the gamut for sure.
Yep. Well, Bart, we appreciate the opportunity to sit down with you on the Whole Story podcast. The opportunity to come out and play these beautiful courses.
Absolutely, our pleasure.
Yeah, I did see a guy a second ago in the reflection here put one in the water on 18. So
I'm pretty confident he's not alone
won't
today.
be the first or last today, but we appreciate everybody joining us. We're excited we'll throw up some drone shots, some pictures, videos of these great places, Caledonia and True Blue here in Pawleys Island. But you've been listening to the Whole Story podcast.